Hello, YouTube and Whooper Club fans. It's me, Fruit Taco, aka the coach of the Route 1 Burbs, here bringing you a feature match from Week 9 of Season 12 of the WCL. This was the last week of the regular season, where the Cincinnati Incineroar were the last wall between the Summit County Psyducks and a playoff spot. And as an extra treat, Mr. Cat Measles himself, coach of the Incineroar, is joining me to go over the match. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Happy to be here.
Well, with introductions out of the way, let's jump into the matchup. The Incineroar's roster is Palmot, Espathra, Palafin, who cannot Terra, Hydreigon, Annihilate, Sylveon, Brute Bonnet, Donphan, Rabsca, Fortress, and Garganacci. Their opponents, the Psyducks, are Iron Valiant, who cannot Terra, Mousehold, Sandy Shocks, Toedscruel, Bexcalibur, Rotom Heat, Gyarados, Skeledirge, Scizor, Dunsparce, and Quagsire. I'll give my quick impressions of the matchup real fast and then hand things off to you, Matt, since I'm guessing you studied this more than I have. Speed-wise, the Psyducks have the two fastest Mons in Iron Valiant and Mousehold, but I think I'd actually give the edge to the Incineroar. Mousehold is pretty hard-walled by Annihilate, Espathra has Speed Boost, and you've got several good priority users plus two Pokemon in the 90s, while the Psyducks jump straight from base 100 to 87. The Psyducks have the faster walls, which is nice, but I think the Incineroar can do more with their speed, at least until the Psyducks Dragon Dancers start boosting. Type-wise, the Incineroar have a big Fairy and Flying weakness, which Iron Valiant and possible Terra-Flying Gyarados would love to exploit, as well as only two Ice resists, meaning we could see Bexcalibur do some work. On the flip side, the Psyducks actually have no types that they're particularly weak to. Fighting and Ghost are relatively unresisted, so Annihilate looks like it'll be strong, and while several of the rock weaknesses are covered by rock resists, Garganacci can do surprising damage with, like, a curse set, or just stronger than normal Salt Cures. Hazards and status look useful for both sides. Rocks and Salt Cure could force Boots and Covert Cloaks onto the Psyducks, who I think in turn would love to get up Toxic Spikes to put up any setup Mons on a timer, and of course would love to burn the likes of Annihilate and Palafin. Overall, I think it's looking like it'll be a race for the Psyducks to break through all the potential bulk on the side of the Incineroar before they get chipped down themselves, or someone like Espathra or Annihilate sets up to devastating levels. What did you see in the matchup here?
Yeah, I do agree with everything that you pointed out there. Iron Valiant being faster than my entire team and sporting that stab fairy coverage, which, as you pointed out, I do not resist all that well. Is definitely going to be the mon to look out for here, and yeah, everything else I think is like kind of evenly matched into each other. I have a lot of good. Bulkier pieces, as you mentioned, that should be able to go toe to toe with anything that they try and throw out there. Any surprises that they might try and bring. As long as I'm able to, pivot around really well, maybe make good use of Terra, and yeah, just going to be probably a pretty back and forth match here, I think.
Just a nice, honest game of Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Alright, well with that out of the way, let's jump into the actual teams that are coming to the match. I think I'm just going to hand the reins over to you right away on this one since you built this team. Walk us through your handiwork here.
I did build this team, yeah, and I wish I had taken an extra moment to check over it. You may mention on the you may notice on the Terra types that they all happen to match the Pokemon's original types. That was actually by design, because I just really wanted to do the funniest thing possible, which was lose this battle and let everyone in to the playoffs, because we're having too much fun this season, and it wouldn't be any fun if I just won
This is a fun
super easily.
season.
So oh yeah, so I mean I'm just not done coming back yet, so
True.
yeah,
Think how
so
much more
I
impressive it'll
gotta.
be if there are more people to have the comeback season go through.
Exactly. I'm out here to make a statement, It's not about winning all the time. And but that said, yeah, I did mess up. I would have loved to have had, at least one fairy resistant Terra type on this team. But, we made do with what we had. I was forced to bring Brute Bonnet this week because I had not brought it yet previously after I traded for it partway through the season, and so that was a lock. and we'll see how much work that ends up putting in. I basically like looked at my match from week 8 and this week, and figured that it matched up better into the Psyducks team, so that's why I decided to bring it this week. And then everything else is kind of more standard. I wanted a little bit of bulk from Hydreigon, hence the Assault Vest set there. And then, to give it a little bit of pivoting potential, because I've also got U-turn on there, maybe tank a hit, then swap into something else. Annihilate, also same kind of thing, just kind of like soak up little hits throughout the battle, and then, he's got U-turn himself, and then it, once it finally gets a chance to come in to a good matchup, maybe get a bulk up off and then just go nuts. And then, Palafin, it does what it does best. It comes in, it comes out. Although, some might say what it really does best on my team is die. But we'll see if he can finally put in some good work. And then, Garganackle, pretty standard set. Hopefully, no critical cover cloak mons, but I already know how that goes down. And that's about my analysis for this team. I thought I had pretty much an answer for everything, and I think I really would have if I had set those Terra types. So no,
I think the only things that really stand out to me here are, like you said, the Terra types. You're right, would have been great to have a nice resist on it somewhere. I don't know, maybe probably made like the Hydreigon or something. But then the only other thing is Mystic Water on the Palafin, and not what I normally think of as kind of the 3 key Palafin sets of either Band, Scarf, or Bulk Up. But what was the thought process on the Palafin? Why did you go with this particular one?
Yeah, this week I just kind of usually I won't run max speed or anything unless like there are certain Pokemon that I want to just like outspeed and chunk the crap out of on the opposing team. And this week in particular, based on the speed tiers, I thought that I might actually be able to get a flip turn off to go into hero form instead of just switching out hard switch. So I did want some extra speed to be able to get that off, and since that led to me having like 3 water moves, I figured I'd just slap a Mystic Water on there instead of having to sacrifice a little bit of even more bulk with Life Orb recoil on top of like Wave Crash recoil, and the fact that I'm not running HP investment. So that was just kind of what I was thinking there. Bandit was definitely still a viable option because it could have come in, still done a very powerful flip turn and everything, but just for the vision that I had, I just did like the flexibility to be able to change moves. Especially when I'm outspeeding my opponent potentially anyway. I don't necessarily need to jet punch every single turn. So maybe take one out with Wave Crash, regain a little bit of HP, and just stay in for a while instead of having to come in and out.
All right. Well, with that, let's move on to what the Psyducks are bringing. Here we have the Psyducks, who are starting off with Dragon Dance Gyarados with Waterfall, Earthquake, and Terra Flying Terra Blast with Boots, making sure it doesn't take extra damage from rocks. The speed here seems to be to outspeed something speed creeping Adamant Baxcalibur, as at neutral or +1, its matchup doesn't seem to stand out against anything in particular for the Incineroar. This makes sense to go after the Incineroar's flying weakness, but I also could have seen it as a bulky answer to Palafin. Next is Max Speed and Attack Adamant Baxcalibur with, of course, Dragon Dance, Terra Steel boosted Iron Head, most likely for Garganacci and Sylveon, Glaive Rush, and Loaded Dice boosted Icicle Spears. This looks pretty dang strong, as with a Dragon Dance and Terra, it's a coin flip to Oko Garganacci with Iron Head, and a very favorable roll to Oko Max HP Annihilate with Glaive Rush. With no added bulk, it's going to need to stay healthy, especially as it's weak to Palmot's Mach Punch, and after Terra won't resist Jet Punch. But if well managed, this is going to be a monster. Shifting to specially offensive, we have Booster Energy Iron Valiant with just enough speed to just outspeed the whole Incineroar lineup, and conveniently just still get the speed boost from Booster Energy even with max special attack investment. We can see Naive Nature over Timid, since this is actually a little bit of a mixed set, running Knock Off and Shadow Sneak in addition to Moonblast and Thunderbolt. I kind of see what he's going for here, and I like the Shadow Sneak tech to outspeed Priority or chip a speed boost at Espathra, but I question the Booster Energy somewhat. If he's worried about speed, I think Choice Scarf is just more reliable here, especially since Fairy attacks are so spammable. going off that though, Choice Specs Moonblast just seems so good into the Incineroar's lineup. I think I'd have had a hard time passing that up myself. Next up is Max HP and very defensive Rotom Heat. Overheat and Volt Switch are pretty standard, with Trick to trick away its choice specs onto something like Garganacci. Discharge is the last move for trying to spread some paralysis while doing damage. However, I think he plans to trick away those specs pretty reliably, so Will-O-Wisp or Thunderwave as a reliable status I think would have been nice. With Terra Water, it becomes a good Palafin check, with its bulk making it very likely to survive 2 crashes from even banded Adamant Palafin Hero, and Specs Discharge being a roll to KO, no bulk Palafin. Scizor is coming as a Brute Bonnet check with some cheeky other options as well. Max HP and max attack Adamant mean it'll be eating hits and dishing out damage, with Safety Goggles making it immune to Spore. U-Turn and Terra Steel boosted Bullet Punch are standard enough, but I like Technician boosted Thief and Aerial Ace to hit Espathra and Annihilate. I actually like this set a lot, although no Defog means that Rotom and Excalibur both are going to need to watch out for rocks this match. And last up is Unaware Max HP Max Defense Quagsire rocking the Covert Cloak to avoid Salt Cure's residual damage, and Terra Grass to resist both grass and water. Toxic, Recover, Stealth Rock, and Earthquake make this a pretty standard moveset, and one that I think will be very effective. Getting a Toxic onto Annihilate, Espathra, or any other setup mon is great, and Earthquake should let it force out all of specially defensive Garganacci's recovers before taking it out in the long run. Well, that's enough what I've got to say. Matt, what do you think of these mons? Were you expecting a team like this to come?
Yeah, I gotta say I hate these mons. They were really annoying to deal with, and in particular that Quagsire, the Covert Cloak, was really hoping you didn't know about that tech, but it is what it is. Wouldn't have been a problem if my Garganacl could have, been not weak to ground anyway. But we all know how that goes, and I have to agree that it's pretty smartly built. Like the Scizor set is very cool. Pretty standard like UV spread, but it's got a good item and moves to match up into my team pretty nicely. And then the Iron Valiant, like maybe it's not like optimal like you said, but like it definitely has enough to beat the crap out of my team, and that is the move Moonblast. So definitely not the easiest team for me to break through. In theory, I like have all the pieces that like could get through it and everything, but given the circumstances, it's gonna be very challenging to like pivot around and just get the right stuff in the right time and be able to not have to sacrifice something when I want to free switch into something else with a lot of these very powerful attacks. So.
All right, well, let's see how you did and head into that match. Okay, here we are. Looking at this, I see that Quagsire looks great into basically everything except Hydreigon, which I think is going to make that special attacker key here for the Incineroar. Matt, what did you think when you saw this team?
Yeah, like you mentioned, Quagsire is definitely like the big thing on the mind, given that it has 2 abilities that, like, depending on which one it has, could very drastically change how I have to play this game. Because if it has Unaware, then that makes it challenging for Garganacl to set up on it and do some actual damage, especially since it also has the Cover Cloak. I'm not really like doing anything in exchange there. But on the other hand, if it is Unaware, which as we saw it is, then Palafin doesn't have to worry about really anything coming in and being immune to its huge water attacks. So if I can figure that out early enough, then I can definitely play the battle a little bit differently. But other than that, nothing looks too horrible, other than just like the existence of Iron Valiant in general. But definitely some tricks I expect to be up the sleeve. Don't want to get burned by Rotom. Not sure what item it's rocking, and just need to make sure I play smart, pivot appropriately, and save my most important guys for the end.
All right, well, we'll see opening up that it's going to be Brute Bonnet for you and Scizor for the Psyducks. Scizor makes a lot of sense. It's kind of just free to U-turn out on most of this stuff. Why did you go with Brute Bonnet? I see it having actually a pretty bad matchup against most of the things on the Psyducks team here, but I could see it if like were you expecting Quagsire to go like lead rocks?
Honestly, like Groupon is kind of just like my throwaway guy, and like if I
Sure.
could spore like whatever he led, then like that'd be cool. Obviously, him leading the bug type is like not optimal, but um, as far as like my overall game plan in the match, he's just kind of there, like put the spore pressure on and just nothing else really.
Yo, all right, that makes sense. Well, bug type, so out into Annihilate for an easy Rage Fist boost there.
Yeah, and you might notice he got that critical hit there.
Yo.
That's really
And
stupid.
here's what I was talking about that booster energy. He's already used it up here, so see if that comes into play. But Moonblast is Moonblast into your team, and it actually tanks that Rage Fist after 2 boosts.
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember if I was Vital Spirit or not, but if I was Defiant, would have loved to drop there. But
Yeah,
it is what it is. Bringing Garganackle, who's actually eating that up. But
yeah.
now he's got to
And
deal with this guy.
I like the Iron Defense
Uh,
there, because, I mean, you were eating the special hits, and, well, here we go.
yeah,
Salt Cure keeping the Covert Cloak tech honest, and we
yeah.
see there's the
So,
Unaware.
yep. There's the item reveal. And yeah, also pretty much ability reveal, which is no
Yeah.
fun.
Uh,
And so
Switching to
then he
Scizor
brings
there,
in
I
this
think he
guy.
was expecting you to go to Brute Bonnet on another Earthquake.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Because then he just comes back out into Quag, because theoretically it can just essentially force you to recover over and over until it stalls you out of them.
Yeah, yeah, and there's lots of different ways you can approach like the Quagsire matchup, but like I don't know, it would have been a lot easier for me to not have to switch into something. But again, Brute Bonnet is
Yep.
probably like a good bring in there. Go into
The
this,
Donphan
hoping to
here,
get rid of the
another
rocks. Of
critical
course, he
hit.
crits again. Um, but Rapid Spin is pretty free here,
Yep.
despite the Intimidate.
Also, he didn't go for Toxic there, so I'm wondering if he was fearing maybe like Terra Grass there. But also probably means he doesn't have a water move there. And into Bonnet on the Dragon Dance here.
Yeah.
And the Flying Terra Blast, that is an easy guaranteed one-hit KO. Did you have any thoughts here kind of about seeing him use his Terra here?
Yeah, so I actually like felt okay about that because I think that like Brute Bonnet there was actually in a pretty good position to do something. Unless he burnt the Terra to
Mm-hmm.
offensively take it out. Which was pretty much, Gyarados' only way. Like no better flying coverage really. And so I think it's fine, now that I don't have to like worry about that from anything else. Now obviously I am at this moment worried about how I actually break the Gyarados with the boost. Um, since like I don't have any unaware mon on my own or anything, and
Mm-hmm.
so I just kind of got to eat a hit or two and take this guy out. But other than that, I mean, I do feel good about forcing a Terra over.
All right. Well, Garg
More of
is
a
going
job
to
than I
force it out.
expected Brute Bonnet to do.
Yup.
So
Back into this Quag. Do you have any plan for the Quagsire yet in the match?
yeah, get this guy set up.
Get this guy
So
set
bring him
up. All
in.
right. Well, you get in
Yep.
on those free rocks. He's out into Baxcalibur as you flip turn on
Look at that, we
out.
got it off.
Proc that 0 to hero, and Garg back in again.
Yeah, Garg is so back. And, looking to hopefully not get crit or flinched here
Yeah,
and,
no
maybe
no
set up a
flinch
little
means that
bit.
Iron Defense will save you from a follow-up.
Yeah.
But he goes for the flinch. But no
And does
flinch.
not get it. So Garganackle looking good here unless he just, takes the free switch into Quagsire at any time, and there it is.
There it is. It's
So,
the Iron Wall of Quagsire. Right back.
yep. And I think at this point I was like still not totally sure about the ability, so I wanted
Okay.
to just get another Iron Defense off to, see if it changed the damage that much. Because then I can like really go Palafin mode,
Gotcha.
which does like generally look really good into the team. And so yeah, that's still doing
Still
about
doing a
the same
lot,
amount of
and
damage.
Body Press also not doing much back.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely, at least at that point, like I have information that is
Mhm.
critical to me winning this battle, and um, at some point I'm just gonna need to like hard go into something, and High Dragon happens to
There you
be in the
go.
ground here.
On the
Uh,
free Earthquake.
Yeah. So looks good there. And at this point, I really had to make a call. And I really wish I had gone for the one that took out that Iron Valiant on the
Yeah,
switching.
I was gonna ask you about that. That seems kind of like a pretty big misplay. I mean, you outspeed everything except the Valiant generally, and obviously, I mean, if you just go for Dark Pulse there, you're doing pretty much exactly half to Quag. You're KOing the Valiant if it comes in. You're doing good damage to anything else.
Does it pick up the Valiant? I mean, it's quad resist. I don't know the calc
Well,
off
I
the top.
think let's real quick go do a calc. We can do that live. We're real people.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe like a flamethrower or something. We got Hydreigon here going up against Iron Valiant. So Dark Pulse, it looks like is doing 18.3 to 21.7. So would have been a roll. Um,
Okay. What I do like better on that turn though is just like U-turn because that is like obviously also not gonna break it, but then like
sure.
whatever he brings in, I could have just brought in Palafin there and just like jet punch.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
free Jet Puncher, Wave Crash,
yeah.
or whatever.
But what I really hoped was that I had a defensive Terra or on Hydreigon here, but that's fine. So,
Or you had the very funny anti-fairy Roselli Berry Belch tech.
oh, exactly, yeah.
All
Honestly, that
right,
probably still kills.
but we're gonna see here that you actually just let Hydreigon go down, which I think is surprising. I probably would have just sacked the Donphan there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like with Rock still on the field, it's just like tough to really know what's optimal.
True.
But now here, he doesn't resist uh
So yeah, even with the
water
integrity.
anymore, and I know I'm faster since I do have that speed investment, so able to chunk that. And so Palafin is gonna, look to get a little bit of work
A
here.
little bit of work here.
Drain
He'll
Punch getting up
almost
to
back up
almost
to full
full.
there as he goes for a huge glaive rush there. Which actually, like, I'm looking at this and like, I'm pretty sure if he just went for Dragon Dance there, he just won, right? Um, because then the like, obviously the glaive rush double damage is going to mean that he can't stay in here. But if he didn't have that, obviously like Jet Punch isn't going to KO him next turn. Then if he's at +1, Glaive Rush KOs the Palafin. Iron Head should take care of the Garganacci. The Annihilate and Donphan are both weak. So I think that was a pretty big misplay from him.
Yeah, I think I don't know. That probably would have been good for him. But
But we'll see how it ends up playing out.
yeah.
As I said, the double damage means he's going to have to switch out. Nice predict there. Hit the Rotom there. But
Yeah,
Wave Crash, Recoil, or potential Scarf. Scary. So route into Donphan, who gets those nice spectacles.
right. Yeah, that not doing half is a little annoying because then I did have to switch the Palafin, and just like even though it may have been optimal for him to go for like Dragon Dance on that turn, like him just like going for the Glaive Rush made the rest of this game so difficult for me because like I needed Palafin to be at like
Yeah,
high health so that I could like wave crash and stuff.
yeah. Without that,
And
Hydreigon, really it or getting several more Rage Fist boosts is really your only way through this Quagsire.
yeah, and so just like I don't know, being that low makes it very, very tough to do everything that I want to do with it. But now that I know what the Rotom is up to, it makes that like a little more manageable at least. So I can just kind of body press away. He does bring it in for free, which is nice, a little unexpected chip there. But then of course he's gonna go right back out because why not? And yeah, might not hurt to have knockoff or something for these guys, but that's all right.
It's almost like you used to have a very good knockoff mon. And it's also a
I wish
grass
I still
type.
did, but yeah.
Um, but yeah, we've been here before. We see this Quagsire and this Garganacci are just going to stare at each other, both such stoic mons here, barely living there on the 1%.
And
Uh,
isn't this a speed tie too?
is it? I have been paying attention to that. We
I think there might
can.
have been something with that. But yeah, there I
Oh,
figured
it
it
sure
was
is
more
a
important
speed
to just like
tie.
get some damage down. And then yeah, here I can like either he switches out or like loses them on, and so I can just like drain punch pretty for
Mm-hmm.
free, get a little bit of health back, not taking the KO here, but like two will. And so now I'm like, okay, I can wave crash, like maybe not die immediately. Um and like this thing I just jet punch
We
against, but
see,
he's
yeah, we
shadow
see the
sneaks,
cute little shadow sneak tech.
which is annoying because like sure I'm not dead, but now I'm just like slow again.
Yeah,
So
well, that was actually, it seems like, well, why didn't he just go to Scissor? Well, the Shadow Sneak actually put you in the guaranteed bullet punch range.
yeah, so that's pretty annoying because like otherwise I could have just survived that hit and like wave crashed here. And
Yeah.
honestly, like Annihilate looked okay into like the last two mons, but he did what he had to do to chunk it enough that this guy could just clean up. So yeah, kudos to him. Congratulations to all the Johto conference players who get to play a play-in
Yeah, that
game
that
in
was
week
really
10
the
now.
story here was
So.
we had both coaches you had already made it in with a 4-3 record. Zach here was at 3-4. So his win here meant that the fourth seed was guaranteed to be a 4-4 record, meaning anyone else in the conference with a 4-4 record was going to get a play-in game in the playoffs. So this just opened the floodgates, and well, this week we got several of those things going on.
Oh yeah. And I like I mentioned before, I do like I don't know, I don't feel too bad about having to play a playing game now. I think, the opponent that I'm against, they have like a pretty good team, but I have beaten them before, and I also have a pretty good team. And I'll actually be playing them shortly after recording this. So we'll see how that goes down. I'm looking forward to making the main bracket, and honestly, if I beat my opponent this week, and I mean, not to jinx you or anything, but you or Chad loses, then it would all be worth it. Uh,
There you go.
so, but if I lose, then oh well, so sad. I'm still calling the season a success. Made the playoffs technically. Um, and yeah, we take those.
Yeah, well, best of luck with the rest of the hashtag comeback season.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, thank you, thank you.
yeah, thank you for joining me here. Thank you for the match. Thank you to all of you at home for watching. And please remember, you can like, comment, subscribe, anything else YouTube wants you to do these days. Check out the description for content from some of our coaches. And I don't know, go take a nice walk outside. It's actually relatively nice weather where
It
I
is
am.
nice out.
Maybe it's
Yep.
not nice where you are, then don't go outside.
Yeah, yeah. Nice
Okay, this
relief from
is
the tornado watch we had yesterday. So
yo,
yeah, yeah,
true.
yeah.
All right, well, that's enough rambling here. I will see you all next time for another feature match.
All right, see y'all.